Good morning, people. This is, I think, episode 12, I think. We got to start with the coffee. Or my, well, by now is a ritual. Anyways, so updates, or actually a bit of a news. Update is with this Smurf engine. Steve painted it very nicely with a brush, as you can see everywhere. But it's actually very solid. I like it. I like the color as well. It stands out. So the reason we painted it blue and red and some stuff is black. Actually, I shouldn't make this video yet. I should complete this engine with everything. But let me just explain what we're doing, because this is something that people were waiting for, and we promised that we're gonna do it. So we are actually in the process of doing this. The engine is obviously blue. The blue is a representation of what you get when you buy your stuff. So let's say, for example, you buy an engine from an Audi TT225, which is one of the most common ones. It has the right gearbox, because now we're using the four-wheel drive gearboxes only for our kit, which is better because it's actually cheaper and more common to find. So, all the pluses. So okay, let me explain. So the blue is everything that you get and you maintain from what you're buying. So the engine comes with that plenum, with this turbo, which is KO4, be more powerful, with that gearbox. Everything that is red on this engine is a standard parts that you get with the engine, but you have to modify. Now, those modifications are very simple, very little, but nevertheless is good and is obviously very helpful to explain what's what, how you have to modify and where exactly. So it's kind of like explanation stuff, you know, and it's easy when customers ask specific stuff, we can show it, and it's very clear to see what's what, what's not. Now, all the black parts, besides the engine stand, is, for example, the engine mounts from the Toyota. Now, this is the front one, this is the left one on the gearbox side, this bolts to the chassis. This is the opposite side one, again, original Toyota, and then obviously this one here, which is actually sitting in exactly the same position as a Toyota one. All the stuff that is shiny or unpainted, this is our supplier stuff. So the gearbox mount adapted to the chassis, the exhaust, the mount, again, another mount there, shallow sump, you know, the mount from the gearbox here, the linkage adjuster, slider, obviously the charge cooler system, the charge cooler mounting, you know, it's all there. Then the battery, this is not finished because, as you know, I had a problem with the welder which wasn't working. Now it's working, but I left it there because we don't have to finish it, just to show. This will never be an engine working, this is just to show off. The battery, again, this is not necessary. This is if you order the charge cooler system, you can request to have this on or not. It doesn't matter, you know. And then we're still working on the mounting point, because again, me and Steve and people who know this stuff, they will just use these holes and just put a zip tie around the battery. The battery is extremely light, and that will be fine. That will be just more than fine. Everyone will just use that. If I had a bracket, I would remove the bracket and just put a zip tie, because it's easier and quicker. But a lot of people, like Steve pointed out, will think that is actually a bodged, not a finished product. So I have to make something nicer just to, you know, avoid those comments, or, you know, whatever people want, we have to supply it. Obviously the black stuff here, this is, you don't have this with the original car, because again, this is just, you know, black silicone. Same from there. Again, the engine is not finished, there's a lot of stuff to put on. You know, we're still working on that because I'm busy doing the other stuff. And one of the stuff that I'm busy working on, so like I said, is the warning gloom, which is finally finished. I've done everything. Actually, today I think I'm gonna finish to write down the pinouts and the diagrams and everything, so we can continue. And we probably gonna remove this engine here, because this is a good engine, like I said. This one here will go in that MR2 outside there, and we're gonna sell it probably. I just have to finish this cold intake setup, because yeah, that's how I'm working on it. That simulates the MAF sensor as a jig, so every time they come out exactly spot on, as they should be. And then I have to make a link pipe between this side and the turbo. That needs to be shorter. And then that's out and in that car there. So once we've done that, when I'm going to remove this engine, I'm not going to put it in the car. When we're going to disassemble that car, me and Steve, we're going to take some time and we're going to take the pictures and video the crucial points on how to remove that car, that engine from the car, which is simple, but nevertheless we're going to do it as we promised. Then we're going to show how to prepare the chassis excuse me, so you put this engine in easily. The fuel system, the cooling system, there are a couple of things that is better to do it while the chassis has no engine in, so the job is going to be much easier because there are tight spaces to go in later. For example, the fuel pipes. If the engine is not there, are extremely easy to put on. If the engine is there, it's difficult. It takes time. It's unnecessary. So we're gonna show all this stuff step by step, how to put my stuff, my kit, or our kit to the engine and fit the engine in the chassis. How to connect everything. How to put each individual part. How to connect the electrics and all that stuff. And also at the same time, like we promised, I'm going to release all the pinouts and the diagrams and step by step how to do electrics, how to hybridize your Volkswagen or Audi wiring loom with your Toyota wiring loom, so everything works like factory. And now we got everything sorted, so all the lights on the dash are working as they're supposed to be. We're not deleting the engine management light. That is a requirement for the MOT. I don't know where you live, but if you're in UK, MOT needs to see the engine management light coming on and then off. It does the checks and it gives you the clear, everything is good, is good to go, there's no codes, nothing is faulty, and you can go. So, one off, it doesn't matter. Production, that has to be there. So everything is sorted. So that was a big step. That was a big step. Other news. With that, I think that's all. Oh, there is a very important news. I shouldn't really show you anything of this latest news, but I was like, well, let's do it anyway. So, as you know, I've built a custom turbo setup. Oh, well, no, different. One of the setups I've built recently was with a different turbo. So the turbo had a different downpipe and it had a different link between the turbo and the charge cooler. And now we have another customer with this very similar request. The turbo is different. He's got a different exhaust manifold. He bought himself a nice built engine already with this manifold, with this turbo. This is a nice Garrett GT25, I think. External wastegate and all the stuff. The downpipe probably will have to be modified, but I don't know. We'll see. Once the engine is inside the chassis, we're gonna do it. But I'm not gonna talk about the different turbo, because you've seen this already on a different engine and it's boring. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this is a mock-up engine that is gonna go in that car, but it's not gonna go in with this gearbox. It's gonna go in with this gearbox. That is, ladies and gentlemen, the DSG. Now, there's been a lot of people asking us if or when we gonna fit the DSG. A lot of people are asking if the DSG fits with our engine mounts, and no, it does not. The gearbox mount specifically is slightly different because the mounting points of this gearbox are different. Now, I haven't tested it yet, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm talking about until I actually done it. But bear in mind, this is gonna be in probably next week, and we're gonna see what it's gonna take to modify our stuff or redesign the home mount, which we're gonna do it anyway, to fit one of these boxes in. Most of the stuff is sorted out already. It's just these mounting points. But again, it's work in progress, is development. Now, bear in mind, please don't ask me or Steve when it's gonna be ready, because we just at the early stages. I shouldn't actually start doing this at all for now. This should be done probably end of this year, during the winter when I have more time, because we're very busy. so I didn't want it to step into another development part until I have a time. But now we got this customer with this gearbox. He's like, could you have a look? He's like, you know what, I'm slowing down with my racing now because the season is finished. I cancelled a couple of races because of my injuries, and so it's like, well, let's do it now. So that's good news because we're gonna speed that process up. So but again, please don't ask, let me finish this first, let me finish and develop everything, test it. Once everything is good, we're gonna put everything I need to put that gearbox in the car in production, and we're gonna announce everything. So let's wait. I think that's all for today's episode. There's nothing else. Racing injuries and other stuff, yes, I'm gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna do it on the different video. That's gonna be on a different playlist with a 1% chance. Funny thing happened. Still hurts. My ribs, my everything. I can't even move my hand, my head properly, but in the next video. Alright, I see you soon.